Tom, I just working 60 hours. Really, why don't you just pay me for 40 so I can get health insurance? That would be kind of cool. You know, and can I get a little more? He's like, no. I was like, I'm not asking you to pay for me for the 60. Just give me 40 so I can actually go to a doctor. He goes, no. You'll work 30. I'll give you the company standard increase, which is 25% on $6.40. What does that come out to? I don't know, but it's not a lot. And he goes, that's that. And then from now on, you have to leave when you can't work after your 30 hours. I'm like, So I again had that conversation with Howard, bringing him down. I told him what I just told you, and this is the moment I decided to leave. Howard goes, that's Tom. And I went, yo, I'm done. So if I stay here and have to eat that bowl of shit every day, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to burn this bridge. I'll never be allowed back. So I said, you know what? I'm going to LA to be an actor, and I'm leaving the show. I might as well bow out like a gentleman and not go out like a punk, because it would have been bad. I was angry enough. I didn't need any more. That would have put me over the edge, so I just bowed out.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite moments is when you get your head shaved, and that's right when you started, I think, right? And you were so quiet.
I was there for a while, but you gotta understand something.
But this personality that I've seen you come up with, like during the serious days and now in your podcast, which we'll talk about in a second. But the young Grillo is like, hey, don't touch my hair.
Well, here's the deal. You have a wonderful head of hair. Look at that.
Look at it. I know. I haven't cut it since March.
So my biggest phobia ever since I was a kid was to lose my hair. I love women. I think that if you don't have nice hair, women aren't going to like you. My whole life. So as a kid, I used to walk around with a brush in my back pocket. I had to have conditioner. I had a blow dryer. I had mousse. I had hairspray. The biggest fear, because I was terrified of losing my hair, like phobic. So when I started losing my hair, I just happened to be working on a radio show where 20 million people listen. And I got made fun of on a daily basis. So my anxiety was already ready to explode. And then I had that happen. And then the salespeople came in and they were like, we got this new sponsor. It's a hair transplant thing. They want you to fucking be, they're going to do everything for free. You'll have a full head of hair. How will make fun of you anymore? And like that was my anxiety-ridden state, an answer. So I went to this butcher and had it done. And I was 22. No one 22 should ever go to fucking a hair transplant. But they let it happen. I did it. He still made fun of me. And I knew they're gone now. I had them taken out. I still do have the scars, which I don't care. Because I'm still...
Which Jackie was drawing as it was a map. As it was go to the Catskills, make a left, and you'll be in Long Island.
Yeah. So that day, I pretty much didn't go to sleep. I was at Scores the night before. I was still half in a bag, in a foul mood. And then they came up with the hair in the can spray thing. And I didn't want to do it. And they made me do it. And then it was like me, Scott the engineer. They did it. And I was just like, I was foul.
They raised like 10 grand and then there was a viewing party and it wasn't working.
You understand at some point that I blacked out and there was someone else driving the car? Like, I watched some of that and I go, I don't remember that at all. Because I went into a state of catastrophic, like a coma.
Yeah, well, I mean that's when the E show. It's when the E show started too. So it was like one of the first 2-part episodes, and and you started almost crying. It was such good.
I remember after I watched that hair, I went down to get Howard's lunch, and for Stuttering John to come down and say, I'm getting it, because he did not want that dude touching his food. He goes, you have to go up there right now. And I was like, oh, no. And by that time, it was like at that time, it was already up to like $600. And I was like, nope. And the more I resisted, the more money came in. And then I was broke. So by the time it got to like $4 grand, I was just like, click. And they just did whatever they did. And but I remember being at Scores that night, because they put it right away. And it was the E show was on all over the Scores. And that night, Jake LaMotta was there. And I'll never forget it. He was like, in the house tonight, we have Jake LaMotta, but Steve Grillo is here. And I was like, I just got like Jake LaMotta, the Raging Bull. They didn't care that Jake LaMotta's here. It was crazy.
How many times did you get to go to Scores on the Howard Stern because of that? I mean, people.
Well, here's the deal: Lonnie Hanover, the publicist, was my friend before this. Like I worked with Lonnie in nightclubs for years. He was a really good friend, and he got the job at Scores and was like, "Steve, I took the job because they giving me carte blanche." And Lonnie was brilliant. He's still brilliant, but he knew he was my friend. He wanted to take care of me, but he also knew he didn't have to ask me to do anything. Eventually, it was going to get to Howard. So I lived on 65th Street. Scores was on 61st Street, and I was a broke ass. So he'd be like, "Steve, come down. We're going to have dinner." Like every night. And I'd be like, I didn't want to like overstate my, "Oh, Lonnie, I'm going to stay home tonight." Because with Steve, I just ordered you a filet mignon. It's going to get cold. You better get your ass down here. And I'm like, okay. So I'd stay there until about like 1, 2 in the morning, take a 2-hour nap, go to work, still be 8.5 in the bag. And Howard would be like, "You still drunk?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, where were you?" I was like, "I was at the best place in the world, bro. These girls are so fucking hot. It's ridiculous." So he would ask me about it all the time. And then I got Gary and John to come. And it was like, we got treated like kings. But I was there like every night. Didn't get it, but I was there every night. I had no game. So stupid. So then eventually they wound up having Fred's bachelor party there, and then there's the history of Scores.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome too. You mentioned that Howard saw you at AGT. Just was that experience? I mean, do you love Howard? Do you think, man?
Listen, I saw him every day for 8 years of my life. He was always kind to everybody off the air. And he was always very good to me. Could he make my life a little better? Sure. But he still gave me the best memories I've had in my entire, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was amazing, you know? And I love telling stories about it. I didn't realize that, you know, you go to 8 years of school to become a doctor. I got 8 years of school in, you know, the best radio school ever.
Well, and I know it's kind of a cliche type question, but any favorite memories that come to mind when you think about working there?
Well, obviously, yeah, the book being dedicated to me.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. I had weird anxiety issues about. I thought he was going to trash me in the book, but I got some energy. Hold on a second. He wants to say hi. He's really, really like.
What's his name? It's a kitty.
This is upgrade. He's like, "Why am I not on camera?" I bring him on every once in a while, but it just I didn't see it coming. And when I went in there, and like he goes, "I'm going to give the first book to Steve Grillo," and it was like, oh man, this is really happening. Like he's trashed me or did something like horrible. And then so when I went in there, I couldn't breathe. Then he's asking me to read. And all I could do is when I started reading it at the bottom, I saw my name and I'm like, I lost all breath. And then I couldn't, the word debit came up like a debt. It didn't make sense to me being dyslexic. So I couldn't get that word out. And of course it was the best, worst book dedication reading ever.
That's so awesome.
That was one of my favorite moments. But the road trips, working on private parts, it's like that got me into the movie business, man. Like I worked on that crew went on to do The Sopranos, went on to do Boardwalk Empire, and I'm still friends with that whole crew because that's how I got as a stand-in on The Sopranos. That's how they brought me in, helped me start acting and stuff like that. So it's pretty much, you know, there was so many fun memories, you know, but like it was the book dedication has to be the best one.
Yeah, what was the movie? What did you do on the movie, and what was that like? Because
I was a PA, like, you know, I'd never done any production work whatsoever. They threw me in the deep end. All the PAs hated me because I was a must hire, and they all had to spend time in an office for 6 months before they even got on set. But here I am. I didn't have to spend any time, and there I was. I'm Howard Stern's guy. I didn't care about it. I was young, so it was like I was 24. So I worked on the radio show from like 5 o'clock in the morning to like 11, and then we shot from like 12 to, and it was a 10-hour shooting schedule. I did that all summer, but I hated it the first 2 weeks. I was going to quit because they were making my life miserable. And one of my best friends, Beth, she goes, "So what do you do on a movie set?" And I was like, "Oh, it's so annoying. You got to wait for the set dressers to come, and then electric comes in, and the lighting comes in, and then they have to switch everything around, and then this happens, and that happens." And I went, I didn't know anything about that 2 weeks ago. Right. Oh, man, I'm learning. So I just paid attention after that. I shut my mouth. I ate it. And then I started to analyze Betty Thomas's directing skills, where you get the sides of what they're shooting every day. And I started analyzing how she's going to use the cameras to see if I was right. And then I bonded with the crew. So it was just kind of like, you're going to be on a movie set, always become friends with the Teamsters. That's my best advice.
Union's always the best place to be.
Yeah.
So I know
the Teamsters took care of me. So after the Teamsters liked me, my life was easy.
Yeah. You returned a bunch later too, even with TRACEY Millman was always kind of up on your case. Tell me a little bit about being on the show after you left, kind of as a caller, and did some other things afterwards in the serious years.
You know what? They had me do like the Stuttering John shit for a while, and I was hitting home runs. I did the MTV Awards. I did a Derek Jeter interview, the Yankee thing. Did a couple of big things, and they don't know what happened. I went out to do the AVN Awards, and I stayed at a friend of mine's house, and he had a girl over. And right before the AVNs were on Saturday, and I couldn't tell this story. I could tell this story now. She used to live in Vegas, and she was staying at the house. And Thursday night, we had a good time. She went to go work at the Rhino on Friday. She never made it. She hooked up with an old drug dealer, and she died on Saturday from time-release morphine. So that all happened right before I was supposed to go on the red carpet. So I was pretty distraught. And I didn't do a good job because I couldn't figure anything out, because the girl that just fed me champagne and raspberries is dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was having a hard time wrapping my head around that. And it wasn't my friend's fault. It's just she just found an old drug dealer and took a bunch of time-release morphine, didn't understand why she wasn't getting high. And it all kicked in as she was ODing, and it was really disturbing. And so I fucked up there, and I couldn't tell or explain or use that as an excuse. And they basically said, you suck and you're done. So I had to eat that one.
So you could have had a little more run there, but
yeah, no, I did a great job, man. John's the king of that. Don't get me wrong, but I was John's right-hand man, and I also have no fear. So I ran with it.
I know I ask every guest, because I think you had Artie on at one point. Have you talked to Artie Lange? How is Artie?
No.
Everyone wants to know.
I heard a lot of different things. Last time I reached out to his manager, he's like, yeah, he's fine, don't worry. I heard that he's in jail. If he was in jail, isn't that a public thing? He's really a really good human being, and he's been nothing but nice to me. I mean, I never worked with him, but he was just such a big super fan listening. Like, the first time I met Artie was at Scores. He was leaving. I was coming in. I was like, oh, I just wanted to say hi, introduce myself. My name's Steve Grillo. I don't know. He goes, Grillo, are you kidding me? I'm a huge fan. He was like, you know how much I know about you? I know you went to Hunter College. I know your dad's a mailman. I was like, really? He goes, yeah. I was like, oh, shit. So every time I've ever seen him or I've ever been around him, he's been nothing but a good friend and kind and generous. So I hope nothing but the best for him. And I think we know if something was bad, so let's just leave it alone and think everything is good. And then it's so good that he just wants to be alone.
It's got to be cool to just be remembered, though, right? I mean, this is a show that you were on 20, 25, 30 years ago. You can go to YouTube and check out the clips, but people still know you. Like I said, Ganji, just names that people shouldn't really know. It's kind of cool to be remembered like that, right?
There's nothing better than when you see a celebrity come up to you and be like, oh, shit, Grillo. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like the coolest feeling. Like, Kevin Smith's always been good to me like that. Mark Hamill, who's like, I'm a Star Wars geek, so like that's like pretty amazing. There's a list of them that are just so good to me that it's a warm feeling. And just even still, like, I don't expect anybody to know who I am, especially now because I'm like older and chubbier and whatever. But once I say, I was working with some dude and didn't realize it was me, and he was like, wait, oh my God. I was like, you didn't tell me. I was like, well, I don't need to tell you. We're doing something else. You know, I don't go around bragging about it. But, you know, but now that I have the network that I'm working on, I'm a little more promotional. But, you know, someone like MC Serch, like one of my favorite of all time hip-hop. And then my first show on the network, I had DMC surprise MC Serch. So I'm from Brooklyn, man. The hip-hop happened on my lap, in my backyard, at school. So all these bands came up, and we were all so passionate about them. So for me, the surprise MC Search with DMC. If you go to the Aftershock XL network, you can find that interview, which is dope. And like watching MC Search, people go, "Oh shit, what's up, D? Yo, what's up?" It was just like if you told little me that I pulled that off, I'd be like, liar.
That sounds like a great, like in 2021, maybe a tour. Those guys, and I'm trying to. Young MC is Young MC from Brooklyn.
I want Vanilla Ice back. I don't know about you.
I'll take him back. I'll take him back.
But MC Hammer, MC Search, what's up? No, they had a beef. That like they used to like third base would goof on Hammer and Ice on the albums, and they would tear him up. It was bad. So I should probably try to like bury that hatchet. That'd be a good show.
Yeah. Pop goes the wheat. Pop goes the whining of the weasel. I love that, man.
Flew the open, a long clock spoken, a stepping out the bib and ain't a booty line smoking, chicken 40 to my lips, a sips in the guzzle, a 40 dope breakfast of champs and ain't a puzzle, grips on my feet, step out my rest. I got MC.
That was pretty good. Man, this is.
Yo, I'm sticking in my headphones. That's so good.
I'm gonna let you go over there. I'll be over here.